Okay, everybody, so in this coming week, there's quite a bit posted on Canvas for you to look at. They're mostly articles. Uh, most of them are pretty short. You will finish the book, Her Story, this week. As you're finishing the book, you're going to read about some real progress in different denominations as women start to be ordained in the different denominations. And see an elevation in some of the status of women just in the world. Um, a lot of times that was the result of World War I and World War II, and the jobs that women started to hold while men were at war, and that really did advance women's status in society, which is good. And so, there's the big question about ordination and that particular question in the Catholic Church. And so it will be kind of introduced this week, but we'll discuss it more next week. Also, another issue that's sort of introduced in the Her Story book deals with inclusive language, which is, again, another topic that will be fleshed out a little bit more next week. You're also going to read these articles about the impact that Catholic nuns have had in America, and then more recently about an investigation that happened about 10 years ago of American nuns done by the Vatican. And it was a pretty upsetting event that happened because as the Vatican came to kind of investigate Catholic nuns in America, they didn't really say why they were doing this or what sparked the need to do this. They sent them these really long questionnaires, and nobody really knew the intention behind the investigation. It kind of culminated eventually with the Vatican stepping in and appointing some men to oversee some of the kind of congregation of religious women, which was sort of upsetting too. That's kind of calmed down since Pope Francis became the Pope, but it was really interesting to see the Catholic Church really sort of call into question the way that Catholic nuns were living. And there was even an absurd quote that said something like, American nuns aren't doing enough speaking out against doctrinal issues, and instead they're spending all their time helping the poor. Something along those lines, which of course is what we're all called to do. And so, again, it was very upsetting. I personally know a couple of nuns who were very offended by the investigation. And for the church to go after nuns as sort of people who weren't fulfilling the gospel message was kind of absurd and a little worrisome. But again, it has calmed down since Pope Francis has become the Pope. So again, you're going to read about those things. You'll get to read some of the primary source readings that give you insight into the different denominations of Christianity and see the questions that were being asked about women preaching, women being ordained. And so again, we'll talk more about the ordination issue next week. I want to remind you about a couple of due dates this week. I did adjust the due date for the presentation that you're doing. That needs to be uploaded, or the link to it needs to be uploaded by 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So I'll just give you till Friday to view other people's. You can watch any 2 other presentations that you want to watch, and then fill out the critique sheets that are in this week's Canvas folder. Of course, you're going to take a quiz again on Friday or by Friday, and there are 2 discussions this week. Next week should be pretty easy. Actually, there's only 1 discussion. You have to take the test. So I've intentionally kind of left that week a little bit lighter, but I would really like to encourage everyone to get caught up on any missing work. Please email me when you've updated any of that so I can go and grade them. Please pay attention to your grade. Make sure that it is accurate, that there aren't any missing grades that for work that you think you completed. And yeah, I will talk to you again next week.